Paul was now joined by Silas, who had come from Jerusalem to help the mission. One day, they were followed by a slave girl who was possessed by evil spirits. She was making her owners rich through sorcery. She kept taunting the missionaries. Paul ordered the demon to leave her body. The evil spirits were exorcised. Her owner's livelihood destroyed. A crowd gathered. They dragged Paul and Silas here to the courthouse.
These men are disturbing our city. They are advocating customs unlawful for us as Romans to observe.
The magistrate ordered them to be stripped and flogged, then cast into prison. In his cell, which still stands today, Paul asked whether God had forsaken him. At midnight, the ground began to tremble. An earthquake rocked the city. The prison walls were destroyed. Terrified that his charges had escaped, the jailer drew his sword to kill himself. But Paul reassured him.
Do not harm yourself, for we are still here.
The jailer was baptized before dawn broke. The following day, Paul demanded that he and Silas be released. As a Roman citizen, his beating was unlawful. Parting company with Silas, he left for Athens alone. Five centuries before, Athens had been the birthplace of Western civilization. She had produced writers and thinkers, artists and politicians whose ideas had shaped the modern world. Her days of political supremacy were long gone, yet she preserved her reputation as the citadel of learning. Overlooking the city was the Acropolis, a mountain of temples dedicated to the gods of Olympus. Nowhere in the world did reason live in such close proximity with superstition. In the great city square, Paul spoke to the Athenians. He was disturbed to see their city full of idols.
We ought not to think that the deity is like gold, or silver, or stone, an image formed by the art and imagination of mortals.
This idea interested the philosophers. They invited Paul to speak to them on the hill, below the Acropolis, the Areopagus. Paul addressed them from this spot.
Men of Athens, I found an altar inscribed to an unknown God. What you worship as unknown, the God who made the world, does not live in shrines made by human hands.
But when Paul spoke of the resurrection of Jesus, the philosophers dismissed him as a babbler. Most lost interest. Paul left the philosophers to their debates. Ahead of him lay an even bigger challenge. A notorious port just to the west of Athens, called Corinth. Humbled by the thinkers of Athens, Paul trod this road towards a city famed for its licentiousness. For Corinth stood in the shadow of a mountain. Its peak was crowned by the temple of Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love. The temple was served by 1,000 slave girls who attracted men from all over the empire. Corinth was a place of wickedness and depravity, where Dionysus, the god of wine and song, was idolized.